Welcome everyone, Costin here with a guide for Total War Pharaoh Dynasties. If you're starting new with Pharaoh, this is the kind of video that you might be interested in looking at in order to figure out how to play the game. Because there's a couple of complex systems, be it the economy, the legacies, legitimacy, diplomacy, barters, so on and so forth. Now I'm going to use Mycenae for this. The game says this is easy. This is not accurate. In fact, Mycenae kind of has a trickier start than most factions, because you will probably have to deal with one army after another very quickly in this campaign. Now, I am going to play on baseline settings, campaign difficulty legendary, battle difficulty veteran. Now, if you're playing this game, there is something I would firmly recommend you do turn off, and it is the features locked on at start. This is something I'm sure the developers thought to themselves, well, let's lock them off and unlock them through various turns so that people can get used to various mechanics one step at a time. However, you'll actually be better off if you have all the features unlocked from the very start. But for the purposes of this video, I will have them locked. It's probably the only video where I am going to have them locked. The only thing that I am going to turn off over here is Iron Man. And this is just for the purposes of easier recording, you know, in case one video gets erupted or I have some recording issues, whatever. That's one of the reasons I'm so glad for, you know, a bunch of campaign customization. But that is it. Beyond that, I am going to play Mycenae at a baseline level on legendary difficulty to showcase how to do it and the kind of things you have to worry about in this particular game. Alright, so over here on turn 1, you'll usually have one battle to fight. Now, in some cases, you may have two enemy armies to deal with very early on, and maybe a settlement. Depends on which faction you're playing. Usually, you do have one army and a settlement to deal with. That's, I'd probably say, the average, but a second army may be close enough that it can pose a problem. This is certainly an issue in Agamemnon's case, because you have two armies over there from Corinth, and if my mouse wheel wasn't bugging out, it would not be so much of a problem. But you have this army of 10 units, and this army over here can reach Terrans. One of the things you will want to do when starting a campaign, by the way, is turn off all of these things from camera settings so that when you click the enter button, it's gonna be a lot faster. Now, in this case, I start with a bunch of units, Mycenae militia, island skirmishers, in two armies, as well as two elite units. One unit of elite Mycenaean axemen, and one unit of palace guards in two armies. There are no supply lines in Pharaoh. Instead, what you do get is administration tiers. And administration is counting everything pretty much, or a lot of things in the game. So it's counting provincial capitals, it's counting units that you have, it's counting generals. You can see what the administration cost is going to be for pretty much everything. That's something to know. Now, when you start the campaign, first things first, you're going to want to start research. One of the things that's most important to unlock fairly quickly is actually another God slot. Now, this is going to take 16 turns in this particular campaign, or, yeah, pretty much same over there. So, this is important because multiple gods can give you various benefits. So in this case, yes, I do want to go for that. If you're playing a major faction, you will have, at least for the newer ones, you will have some research unlocked, but you do want to get that second god slot as quickly as possible, though I don't have access to that at this very moment. Now, dependent on the faction you're playing, you'll start with various cities, or only one settlement, minor settlement, or major settlement. Now, you will have some diplomatic situation to deal with. In this case, many of the factions that I'm surrounded with do like me. But one of the things you want to do on turn 1 before anything else is get a couple of favorable agreements over here. So, for instance, I declare war on Achilles' initial faction. He'll wipe it out, but I can get a non-aggression pact through that particular deal. And this applies to various other factions as well. So if we look at Ithaca, if we look at Odysseus, we can do the same thing for his faction and get a bunch of resources. We will want those resources, But what kind of resources do you want? Well, the most plentiful resource that's available in the game is food. If you don't have it, the AI will, so it's very, very easy and cheap to trade for food, anything else. Stone is mainly used for construction, but specifically construction of outposts. Wood is also used for construction, but also some other units. Bronze is used for any kind of decent unit, and gold is used for some special buildings as well as various court actions. I'd say the most valuable resource in the game by far is actually bronze. If you can get yourself a lot of bronze, that will be very, very beneficial. Don't get me wrong on this. Getting access to a significant amount of gold will also help you out. Now, here's a little tidbit that you want to be aware of. AI factions can be a bit unpredictable, so you'd never know if they're going to attack you at one point or another. Now, one of the ways to avoid this is, of course, non-aggression pacts. But what if you can't get a non-aggression pact with a faction? Because I certainly can't do so right here with Ajax. He will not accept it unless I pay him off a decent amount of money. And he certainly doesn't dislike me. He's fairly neutral towards me. Well, one of the things you can do to prevent, you know, an unusual war is, let's say, you know, I give him some bronze over here in exchange for some gold. The important thing here is not so much the resources that we're trading, but rather in the fact that through those kind of agreements, we will be able to prevent a random declaration of war. The AI is not too keen on the notion of just, you know, doing a random declaration of war against you. So it is absolutely something you can use to your advantage. And also, by the way, with these kind of declarations of war that I'm issuing over here, there are absolutely factions that will be willing to surrender to you after one turn, before they're wiped out. So there are going to be factions, once they lose like some of their initial armies, things are going to start going in their favor. Also, settlements are fairly easy to defend, so you shouldn't be too worried about that. Now over here, what I want to get is the training grounds in order to get some more of those Mycenaean militia, but more importantly, get access to the higher tier stuff. Usually the way it works through recruitment is you have a native barracks, a native muster field that gives you up to tier 4 units. And then you have various, you know, infantry, range barracks, chariot, cavalry, all that stuff. In this case, I am going for the regular barracks right here in order to pick up Mycenaean militia. I could use gold for instant construction, but it isn't too important right now that I do so. One of the things that I do want to do, however, is get access to the Scolamite, because it's part of the Mycenaean province. It would help me get access to commandments, and I can't actually declare war on this faction because we started the Barter agreement, so instead what I'm going to look to do is sell Sparta to them. Now, they won't accept it from the very beginning, however, we can build a temple over here, because we do start worshipping Zeus. We can build a temple over here, and that will in turn allow us the ability of being able to get that. Now, here's something that's very important in terms of building construction. Every building that you construct requires workforce growth. Basically, population surplus points from Warhammer 3. So every building. Workforce growth can be acquired relatively easily. When you just occupy a settlement, you'll get 2 per settlement. So if you take an entire province, you can build a lot of stuff in it fairly quickly. It actually incentivizes you as a player to go for occupying settlements as opposed to burning them to the ground. Especially because, you know, the resources that you're using for various things are different. Outposts mainly require stone. Buildings, well, it depends on what you're building, right? But it's usually stone and wood. Some things are a bit different, of course, but for the most part, that's it. Units are either gold, bronze, or food. Usually food is part of the requirement. Some units, like chariots, may require some wood, but just be aware of what you're dealing with in that respect. And you have to find this balancing act between building up minor settlements and major settlements. That's going to be up to you. The outposts provide various benefits. So God Shrines generally give you some kind of benefit. An outpost can be used to replenish movement in a particular region. You can also build one outpost per province that gives you legitimacy. That is actually a pretty significant benefit. So over here, what we're going to do is build an Aegean monument and also get an Aegean trading post in that particular settlement. Over here in Terrans, looking at these settlements, we're going to get another Shrine of Zeus, or we don't necessarily need it. We may not necessarily need it, although it would obviously be useful just for, the construction costs for management and administration. However, management and administration is, well, just that, management and administration. So reducing the cost of that for a minor settlement, for a major settlement, absolutely significant. For a minor settlement, not so important. But you do need to build up favor with the various gods in order to unlock more tangible benefits. Regardless, I think I'm actually going to build that Shrine of Zeus right there in that particular settlement. And over here, yeah, let's go over here with the way station. The way station is useful because all outposts replenish movement range when you interact with them. So if you're forced marching towards it or moving towards it, you can replenish movement range to go for it. But way stations also increase your movement range for a certain period of time. So, okay, that's what we want to do in terms of construction, in terms of diplomacy. Build that temple over here in Sparta, because we're going to be able to sell that over here very, very quickly to them in order to get some benefits right there. And I'm actually going to recruit some Achaean bowmen, because being able to get some archers over here will be significant. I could also get a way station over here and use the gold in order to speed that particular process of reinforcement up. But may not necessarily be worth it, because I could just move them right in a regular fashion. You could sell this, you could potentially sell Sparta on turn 2, or you can wait a bit. Okay, so we're just gonna move all these units in the initial army we have. And before you go into battle, one of the things you want to look at are titles. Now, titles are dependent on the various points that you spend in different things, but since Agamemnon does start with 3 out of each stat, we're going to be able to get Prudent and Victory. We could get the other things as well, but the one I'd consider the most important right now is Prudent Victory, because it gives us ancillary chance when we win a battle, as well as post-battle loot. You can actually make your entire economy work based purely on post-battle loot. Because in terms of upkeep, you're going to spend food, bronze, and gold, all of which you can gain through battles. So with that in mind, with all of that sorted out, let's go over here in the first battle. I firmly recommend, for the most part, some exceptions do exist, but I firmly recommend, regardless of which difficulty you're playing on, that your first battles in a campaign, you fight them manually. You cannot resolve them in some cases and get a good result, but being able to maintain your army at good strength is actually quite essential early on. Now, there's different types of units, but over here, for instance, the Mycenaean militia have a decent amount of durability, they're shielded, and they have 10% lethality. Lethality is a chance to get an instant kill with a unit. They're actually a lot better as units than I would have expected. They have a good amount of HP, they have a good amount of durability. Also, never underestimate ranged units in this game in terms of their capabilities in battle, because, for instance, these island skirmishers, while they don't have the same level of armor, they do have a decent level of HP, and obviously will do good damage from ranged, especially that lethality, 35% range lethality, but they're gonna be able to handle decently well in melee. There's all kinds of units. The Palace Guards over here, they're basically a charge infantry unit. Same with the elite Mycenaean Axemen. These guys are great, not holding the line, but flanking the enemy, going in, hitting the front side, doing a lot of damage through the charge and with their regular attacks, especially with that high level of lethality that both these guys have. Obviously, the Palace Guards are more of an anti-chariot, anti-cavalry unit, the Mycenaean axemen are really good in regular melee. Axemen in particular do have a high amount of lethality. Clubmen may have a good amount of regular armor piercing. Swords, which, yeah, this is what the Mycenaean militia have, don't have that kind of benefit, but they're just generally sword units are fairly sturdy in melee in some way. They're kind of like an all-rounder unit, though not so great at dealing with armor, which, yes, it's still important despite the addition of lethality. As you enter a battle, you will have a weather condition choice. You can wait until the weather improves, though in this case I don't really think that's going to matter all that much in this situation. Instead, we are just going to deploy. And what I'm going to do here, because I do want to make use of that heavy skirmisher ability, as well as the charging power of both the palace guards and the Mycenaean axemen, we are just going to deploy in this formation. Although, we are going to wait for reinforcements, which in this game, they do arrive instantly. So reinforcements will just arrive from the very beginning of the battle. So I'm going to wait over here for Sinnelleos to get stuck in. Now, in minor settlement battles, not necessarily field battles, though even in field battles this may apply, a lot of the battlefields in this game can be fairly narrow. Like, you can look at this map. This is not a really big map. And a lot of the maps are like this. They have stated that some of the areas that they added, particularly in Mesopotamia, those have been made larger, but all the same. Now, when you're charging against an enemy army like this, you gotta be a bit concerned about range units, because range lethality can really take a toll on your guys. So instead of just me, running with my best units over here, we are just going to send the Mycenaean militia in order to soak some of the initial damage. And yes, we are charging up a hill, but it's not really a problem. I'm not too concerned about that for the moment. Instead, we are just going to keep on going. Slingers and archers can be dangerous, or rather archers can. Not necessarily so much slingers. Well, slingers can be useful to deal with archers. That's their principal purpose in this game. But in this case, it doesn't really matter. So anyway, we got renowned slingers over there. Our guys are certainly taking a beating right there, but again, we can deal with that. As long as we get stuck in over here, like, I am willing to sacrifice these guys. That is not my concern over here. Like, I just want to get these guys stuck in to neutralize some of that range power that we do have to deal with. So we got some young spears charging in. We are going to send Agamemnon on that particular side and get these elite Mycenaeans and palace guards to get stuck in. My strategy in this battle, I don't care about the casualties that I may take on a lot of my units, especially those militia, because they are expendable. Expendable means that what they suffer in terms of that their casualties are not really relevant in terms of like the overall army morale. So it won't affect other units nearby. That's the reason I'm willing to sacrifice those guys. Okay, so Mycenaean axemen are going in. Let's just redeploy over on that particular side. We got these guys engaging the spears. We got the Mycenaean militia engaging over there. And we're going to want to deal with those archers one way or another. Now I'm going to get Sinnelleos to do a flanking maneuver. So flanking maneuvers are going to be important in this game quite a bit, I would dare say. So we just want to get a flanking maneuver on that side. Generals don't die so easily in battles, but you still got to be a bit careful about how you use them. So okay, as you can see over here, like there, the Mycenaean militia are just doing their thing. Those spears are breaking. Young spears. Young spears are not particularly great units, but they will get the job done. Okay, so they've routed the many of these units. So will the slingers. Now, one of the key elements in winning battles is to try and kill the enemy general, because the morale impact of that doing that is going to be pretty significant, not gonna lie. Okay. So once they start routing over there, that will be my cue. Okay, right there. Very good, very good. Let's disengage these guys. And send these fellas to help out Agamemnon. As you can see, many of them are routing. We haven't killed the general. If we had killed the general, the battle would have been essentially over. So that is a victory. You might think I took a lot of losses. In reality, not quite. Keep in mind, we are in friendly territory here, and I will replenish. If my intent was indeed to take Corinth on turn 1, obviously I would have handled things a bit differently, but that was not necessarily my intent over here. And that was the main Corinthian army anyway. Okay. So, as you can see, we won a decisive victory. We got food, we got bronze, we got gold, and we got the Aegean legitimacy. Even though the crown is not available right now as a mechanic, we still got that. I usually go for the post-battle replenishment option because you gain enough post-battle loot. The actual post-battle loot option is not especially great. Now, what do I want to do here, considering this army over here can certainly attack Terrans? Well, what we want to do is set up a nice little ambush. Whether or not it succeeds is actually immaterial. The important thing is that we actually get them to deploy. We can get ourselves some young spears, or we can finish that instant construction over here, pay the price, the significant price. But that means I am going to need myself some gold, which no one currently has, at least not in amounts to trigger that. Though I do know certain factions do obviously have it.
Get on with it then.
So let's see if Nasus, yes, they are willing to trade some of their precious little gold, because we do need gold to make up for it. The reason I spent the gold for instant construction is because I wanted those Mycenaean militias. But right now we are obviously losing gold per turn, so we do need to make up for that. We do have a steady and massive stockpile of bronze, so we shouldn't be too worried about that. Now, after a few turns, a couple of factions will have decent stockpiles of gold, but we just want that early game advantage that they can provide us. Now, over here in terms of titles, I do prefer going for campaign movement range. The way titles work is that there's various tiers over here, and the higher a tier, like at the end of each tier, you get some extra benefits. A replenishment will give you a benefit to melee defense. Over here, the upkeep benefit will also translate into an influence benefit, but for now we just want movement range, which will, if we look at what we're getting a charge bonus for our units. That isn't too important, but I do need that movement range. Regardless, over here we're just going to get some Mycenaean militia. They do punch way above their weight, far more so than you might think. You can recruit young spears, but if we look at, young spears versus Mycenaean militia, they have some benefits, to be sure, but I would rather get the Mycenaean militia, and I would rather spend gold for that as well, yes. Okay, so now we have
I endure.
Agamemnon in a position to ambush this army, which will be coming in to attack us. We will be able to replenish the damage, and we're close enough to the garrison that we can use the garrison to soak up the damage that might be coming in. We also have apparently an obsidian thrusting spear, so let's just use it. You can have a lot of generals in this game without too much of a negative effect. Don't worry too much about constructing outposts. I don't think outposts are factored in terms of like region trading, so just keep that in mind. The actual buildings in the settlements are barracks, temples are highly valued. And as you can see, the enemy, my army was spotted before it could spring its ambush, but even though we can't get Menelaus for whatever reason, even though he's very, very close, we can get the garrison into this fray to deal with this. Now, one important aspect to understand here, in Warhammer 3, the way auto-resolve works is that it completely eliminates the army that you're dealing with. Okay, but, ooh, that's gonna suck, but in this game, auto-resolve does not do so. So remember that aspect, because it is a very important and crucial one to remember. Regardless, we're just going to get the garrison over here. There we go. And we're just gonna send them all in, soak the damage, and just speed up this battle speed to deal with things. We're gonna fight, and we're the riders of the storm. There is a better camera mod available, by the way. I think Legend of Total War used to say that it's the beta testers that do make that kind of stuff. They should be the ones attacking in this situation. Various reasons. Well, they do need to win the battle. But I suppose because we are quote-unquote ambushing them or trying to ambush them, that won't happen. I don't know if the garrison could quite win the battle on its own, nor do I really give a shit if they could or not. They're meat. They exist to serve the glory of Agamemnon. Now, as I said, slingers are there for one particular purpose, dealing with enemy archers. That is the purpose which we are going to use them over here, while our guys over here position themselves for a killing blow and get our skirmishers in the fray over here as well. Now, in this case, we do want to inflict as much damage as possible in order to... Actually, I'm gonna send these two units over here to deal with that. Okay. So palace guards are going to go deal with the enemy general. If I could completely eliminate this army and like literally obliterate to leave no survivors, that would be pretty damn good, wouldn't it? Because this army could retreat back to Corinth. And I kind of don't want that to happen. So it is important that you win battles in such a way that you're actually achieving a great result. Now, pressuring the enemy with missile troops is going to be pretty sweet. If we can kill the general, as I stated before, we can certainly win this faster. Though they're a lot more durable than you might believe. So, it's not quite as easy as you might think. We don't have a straight line of sight over there. But maybe with these guys. Okay, let's just get closer. Now it's interesting with javelins, because archers do have, like, archers and slingers do have, like, the ability of, you know, organizing an angle for their shots. But not necessarily, but javelins don't have it. Or at least maybe not these kind of javelins. Okay.
Javelins away. Attack. Combat ready. Go at them. Swords.
So that would be the bow. Mostly broken.
Awaiting orders. The men are fleeing battle.
Another unit breaks off right there. There we go. And do pursue them. As much as you can. Battles are pretty small. The battlefield, that is pretty small. So I might not be able to get that one. But we can try. Alright. Decisive victory. There we go. Again, go for the replenishment. We just got all those resources that I mentioned. You'll always gain them in battles, I believe. And now I think he's gonna try and retreat over there. Fun fact, we can do this again. Regardless.
Let's make war.
Now what I'm interested right here is, what is Corinth doing?
King Agamemnon.
Okay, so they got the tier 2 settlement.
Supreme warrior of the Aegean.
Tell you what, we could wait a bit. The reason I would want to wait is because they might be building a native barracks over there. But it might not be too important.
Heading out. Orphan their offspring.
It does say I will lose, but don't be fooled by this. This is not... You look at this army, you tell me with a straight face that I will lose it. I won't believe you. So let's fight them manually. One of the things you get used to in this game is how meaningless the auto-resolve is. First, if I outnumber them. Two, I have better quality units than they do. So, if you're selling me the notion that these guys would be able to win this battle, again, I just flat don't believe it. So, these guys are going to go in for a nice, solid flanking attack. While these fellows right here launch a major full frontal assault on the enemy position. And Agamemnon and my other guys will support over there. Okay. One general down. And we're going to launch an even wider flanking maneuver over here than we might have planned. But that's fine. One of the problems that you will encounter in settlement battles is, yes, choke points. Now, I could risk Agamemnon.
Javelins, prepare!
Over here.
Move up! Show me blood! Swords!
But why do so?
Moving up!
We're just gonna squeeze through that.
To glory!
And now,
Moving up! Hurl javelins!
it is important to note that I don't have any other enemies right now. So that's the reason I'm willing to take that particular risk right there.
Combat ready! For the Achaeans! Defeat is looming! For glory! To war!
Hopefully,
Stay tight! Javelins home!
they will break and Agamemnon will go on his merry way.
Destroy the foe before me!
Over here, we launch a flanking attack. As I said, they are disposable.
I will! Hungry for glory!
And now we just charge in right there very quickly and clearly.
Wreak havoc! Move up! Power and glory! Mycenae forever! Foes beware! Javelin throw!
Alright, these guys are getting sandwiched.
Brace yourselves! Ready to serve! I'm not staying.
And we charge right here against these young spears, which just don't have the armored capability of resisting me in a fight.
Advance, men! Attack from range!
Seems like their general is not too eager to help his troops. Well, truth be told, he's trying to protect the victory point. I guess there is a lesson in that.
Axes! In good order! Javelins, throw! Ready to throw! Attack from range! Slay them all! Foes beware!
Okay.
For the Achaeans! Masters of war!
So Agamemnon
Axes!
is going to deal with that.
Awaiting orders!
We're just gonna pull these guys back. If we kill their generals, as stated,
Ready
we
for
win
action.
far more easily. Let's get a flanking maneuver over there.
Seize the day! That showed them! Javelins throw! Menelaus! Axes! On the move!
What are those palace guards doing?
Beware! Onward, warriors! Forward march! Let fly! On the move!
Well, Agamemnon and
Ready for action!
Menelaus are having the time of their life.
Go at them! Forward march! Swords! Hungry for glory! Combat ready! All conquering! Forward men! Move up!
Yeah, I don't want to risk... You gotta be a bit careful to some extent with your generals. Not too much, you don't have to be too careful, but some level of care is required.
Forward! Make me proud!
But you can certainly risk them quite a bit.
No question!
But it's just better to give them the easier part of the battlefield.
At your command! Forward!
They're not necessarily always.
At once! To glory! We obey! Run faster, you cowards! Onward! Ever mighty! For the Achaeans!
Alright, they're breaking.
I will enjoy this! Javelins, prepare! Javelins away! No mercy! Oh, javelins!
Those palace guards are doing what they're meant to.
The men are fleeing battle!
And we'll try and get these guys to support there. that's it. Says close victory, but easy win. And we'll be able to recover those losses fairly easily. If you're really hardcore, you can go for that battle turn. Me? I'd rather play it a bit safer. Alright, so some gold. As I said, when you occupy a settlement, you can go for these options. I friendly recommend just occupying it for the most part. Some situations it would be beneficial, sure, but most of the time I would dare argue that it is more in your self-interest to just take over stuff. Now, as you can see in this case, I could use some wood, right? Now, if we look at the Aegean and we try and sell Sparta, they will give it to us. And you gotta make that decision, like, when you're in this situation. I'm just gonna save. Like, are these 2 units that I'm recruiting there worth it? Worth the possibility that, you know, they might build something in that gold settlement that would ruin all my good work? That is a decision you gotta make. In this case, there we go. So again, just in this case, just get all of these points. So I do want to, and Menelaus, more movement range, get that unlocked, and get more Mycenaean militia sorted out there.
Your path to victory. I can't see this.
But let's take a look at some of the factions. And it's always good to see what options, diplomatic options, you may have available in your campaign. Okay, so we got some more archers that we're recruiting. Over here, we will build a way station. No. Yeah, way station. Economic building, and that would be it. Leave some slots for your second or third god. You can, I think you can convert shrines, but that's not necessarily the wisest idea in the world. Okay, so civilization prospers. We also get access to the local deities at this point. So you can have one devoted general per god. Though with the Greek ones or the Aegean ones, you can go with a hecatomb, which gives you that prayer for all generals. This is great because he gives you that construction cost for administration and management, all the same.
I look forward to finding
Let's go to the Aegean and see if I made the right choice. As expected. As expected.
Given the situation, I'm glad we're talking.
There is an option that we might go for. And also, you know, 100 bronze. No. So, okay. Let that be a lesson.
Born for war.
They just finished constructing something. That's the reason why. that is the reason why they were not willing to trade there. So you gotta be mindful of that. Like, whenever they finish constructing, like, shrines can be great because obviously they're worth value. And so in this case, like, I know it was likely that they were not gonna give me that. I know it, right? Like, I'm not surprised, suffice to say.
Let's make war. No rest yet.
But anyway.
Given the situation, I'm glad we're talking now.
So now we can trade Sparta. And also get some of that juicy gold that they do have.
I'm happy.
But yes, we did want this finished in terms of its construction. We need more lumber. Lumber.
So,
I'm not worried about the factions to the north. The reason is that, well, they got their own problems. So I'm gonna need some stone. You might say, well, your food income is in the negative, aren't you worried? Nope. Not at all. Not at freaking all. It's not because I'm naive. Obviously, it is an issue, right? But we're just going to get some workforce growth. Although, we could build it in our capital to get that replenishment as well. Movement on land, workforce growth. Yep. Let's go with that one. And now we can do something else as well.
We are honored.
Sell this particular settlement to Nestor. And get a bunch of resources in return. That we could use.
I will.
Enemies beware.
Okay. I mean, it would have been nice to keep Sparta for a bit longer, to be sure. Okay. We build that way station. Economic benefit, although where are we building it? No, that's actually the one where we'd want a way station. Here.
Stalwart and true.
Alright. Not enough funds for that for the moment.
I will not give up.
Just get that flag.
With Athena's blessing.
Born on the battlefield.
I'm gonna get some young spears. Now, obviously, I do want... It would be nice to get the native barracks. But that can wait.
A true soldier. Let my enemies beware.
And we do have that commandment available, and we're going to go for that workforce growth benefit plus 10. Because we do want to grow that province very, very quickly. Got a bunch of bronze. So what do we do now?
We can both behave like reasonable people.
Well, we got a lot of everything, so we shouldn't be too worried. Like, you don't want to trade needlessly. You trade when you have to, if you have to. Like, if you need protection or something along those lines, that's when you kind of have to. There we go. So now, I end this turn. I've established myself in a good enough position. And what do we do now? we set up a trap for Athens. Because here's the thing. Sieges, they're horrible. Like, if there's any piece of advice I would give to people, do not fucking fight sieges. Oh, I forgot to do that. Do not ever fight a siege if you can. Like, the actual gameplay of them is freaking terrible. Like, undeniably bad. Okay, we can get a native muster field. We have some of those skirmishers, so we could work with that. Yeah, let's instantly construct that. And in point of fact, I think I'm gonna go for Oath of Allegiance. Probably should have done that earlier, but hey.
Rich beyond compare. Greatness awaits me. Forward march. Ambush them. Always honorable.
Fit to fight. Forward march.
So now we're setting up a lovely little ambush for Athens.
Making my mark.
Heed my will.
Let me at them. Off we go.
The voice of war.
While recruiting more units. Oh. We got plenty of gold coming in, so we shouldn't be concerned about it. And the court should become available very soon enough.
This is likely to be a waste of time. Of course.
Athens
I hope no unforeseen details
used to really be a genuine annoyance. Let's give them some bronze.
I will happily speak to the Amazons.
And I do want this. To improve relations over here.
This is likely to. I won't let you. Not sure.
As you can see, they're willing to surrender right now. Obviously not at any price, but we'll take their stone. So use those kind of opportunities, because like, you're going to be in a war with Troy anyway. This is the thing to understand. If you're playing a faction that doesn't start as the king, you want to be the king. It's a good life to be the king. So Athens didn't quite attack me yet. They didn't quite take the bait. They will. Which is fine by me. No freaking hurry.
Progression. It is true.
This could work out well for us both. All go.
In Ares' name.
Now, other factions may not necessarily be so, shall we say, eager. Yes, getting Terrans to a higher level is quite important. Can we instantly do that? That's a lot of gold. Oh, I know the Athenian army is somewhere there.
I can hardly wait.
The Lion of Mycenae.
So that's the reason I'm not so
Never slightly.
eager, shall we say, to rush into danger right there.
I'll prove myself.
Maybe I should get some slingers. Just one.
You, come here. Strong in conflict.
Okay, get that replenishment benefit. But yes, they will attack next turn. I'm guessing their armies are to the east. I could obviously go and march on them. Probably win too. Because there's almost a 0 chance that their army... There we go! As stated.
Ever more powerful.
Now, we have some opportunities. The AI does love to recruit its generals, so this is what I know, that they had multiple generals with various forces. They start with various forces, I believe. That is particularly the reason why I wasn't so keen. Okay, capture, conquer an enemy provincial capital. I'll take that.
Always steadfast.
Born for war. Surround the city.
Now, the reason...
I owe. Supreme warrior of the Aegean. Shepherd of the people. Besiege them. Fight on. A god among men. Victory is mine.
Bring their deaths. Regroup. Let's make war. I offer you song, wine, and war.
Alright, very well. I can pay that. I just want some archers.
I've got what it takes.
I am not particularly interested in anything else right now. But this is a pretty critical point as well. The Lion-like and Wrath XP per turn. Diplomatic relations +2. RSIs, morale, line of sight, labor cost. Could be useful. I would say wait, get more movement range.
Prove your worth. Warriors flock to a worthy cause.
So we're still 12 turns away from that. Let's take a look at the diplomatic situation.
Beware.
Not gonna be too worried about that right now. You are certainly taking up your sweet bloody time, Ajax. Is he still alive even? I'd imagine he is. I'm guessing he eliminated the initial army. So what will Athens do here? They might attack. One thing to mention about sieges. The more you besiege, the more siege equipment you build up, the better our resolve against particular
when the words are
settlement
honest
will
and
be.
true, the past does not matter.
I'll take that. Wait. And the court is given. Now, we do want to do a couple of things. We can get 120 regard in order to get the elite units of Troy. But that would be 360 gold. So instead, what we're just going to do is gossip. We're going to put wages. Dependent on the position you have some various units that you can get. So I'm going to get a recruitment cost reduction over here. And obviously I would like to get that gold mine to a higher level.
Supreme warrior of the Aegean.
But regardless.
We can take them.
So if we look at the situation here, you can see our auto resolve has improved by a fairly substantial amount. Build more battering
Don't
rams.
stop now.
Duty first.
Bring down the gates.
Or in this case,
Massacre them.
Remain steadfast.
yeah, just take down that outpost, go back to workforce growth.
The Lion of Mycenae.
More movement range, always useful to have.
Make me proud.
You do want at least 1 point in each of them, though. Keep that in mind. Here's a crucial point, though. Once the court is unlocked, you get access to these elite units, right?
Don't falter now.
These can be recruited anywhere. They're pretty damn expensive to recruit. But they are also pretty damn
Brave
good
warriors
units.
are always welcome.
So that's why you might want to
The
go for them.
situation, I'm glad we're talking now.
Plain and simple. Although in this case, we're gonna need some food. But yes, we might just be pushing things a bit much. No. He has everything that we could want,
This could work
but
out well for us both.
there we go.
Acknowledge.
Yes, this is
In Ares'
something you'll
name.
want to do quite a bit. Now, we also have our command, so gain workforce growth in completed provinces. Cost, okay. The monument of greatness, the monument, okay. Or you can gain an ancillary.
Victory awaits. Prove your valor.
Now, it's still not enough,
Fight on.
and I am not willing to fight the siege. Like, if there is a motto I have personally for this game, don't fight the fucking sieges. That is really not a great situation. 1 in 15. Not great. But we can gain 10 workforce, so it won't be a problem. We do want to get that gold mine settlement to a higher level. And not for defensive purposes, I'm not worried about that. I mean, I could possibly win a siege, but just like... that'd be great.
Prove your worth.
And there it is.
Don't stop.
We can improve our odds even further.
Kill the lot. And that's how it's done.
Now, what's interesting about
Right.
outposts...
Get rewarded. Head out. Move it. We're on the move. By the numbers.
would still cost me a unit that I would rather not pay.
Cross me.
I look forward to finding the best deal.
Okay.
Acknowledge.
Into the fray. Such warriors ensure my might. Fight on.
For real though?
I'll do it right.
That's kind of ridiculous. Oh, right, just take half.
Victory. Excellent. Battle calls.
And that's giving us the stone that we need, the gold that we need.
Hit the road.
What I see, I own.
Heading off. You can rely on me.
I remain undaunted.
We will win.
And now I'm gonna disband this army because, well, we are gonna go recruit another one. Yeah, quite seriously. We want to get another one.
Companion of Ares,
Get more units.
I shall bind you into an army.
We do want the good stuff. Okay, so they're gonna be ready in 1 turn.
I overcome all.
And get rid of this particular outpost. Get the one of Zeus. We can instantly finish construction there.
Everlasting.
I think I'll wait 1 more turn. Although, nah,
Shepherd of the
I'll just wait.
fighting.
It is just that important though to be aggressive. There we go. 300 out of 800. Couple more turns until that deity is sorted out. Let's take a look at the various wars we
You
have.
can count on me. We should both do well out of this.
Really, Ajax? What the heck are you doing? Huh, caster. Nice. So soon enough we should... yeah, so in 2 turns we'll unlock Path to Power and then Ancient Legacy. Because we might have the court.
Insult your peers, know that you insult the dignity
Just
of
don't
my
forget
court.
to keep gossiping in order to increase your relations. If you're playing Priam, or a faction that does start as a king, then obviously you don't have the same kind of concerns.
At last.
Ooh, that is a bad one.
You've got it.
That is a bad idea. See, this is what I mean about random wars being declared on you. You just gotta pay attention. Though in this case, I'm not worried. Mycenae is safe, all that, right? I'm more so worried about, like, wait, he's out. Well, some people must be suicidal.
Born for war.
But what do I know?
I will not give up. We will
Okay.
be bound by oath. Our road is long.
So we don't quite have the movement range to do that.
Ship departing. Or fall upon them. A great day for Mycenae.
So if they attack, they will be clobbered to death.
Natural progression.
I think I'll keep that. Make sure we build those monuments to ancient
Strong
legacies.
for battle. I seek fighting men. I rely on your strength.
And, yep, food is a problem.
I accept that words also have their place in war.
But not too big of a problem. Especially because we do have a battle to fight. Like, you could play the rebellion game. That isn't an issue.
I look forward to finding the best deal. That was...
It will remind you of that vacant court position for quite a while.
Worthy of the name.
Well, I'm going to restore it after a bell. Yes. We have a mini Valkia mechanic in the game. If you want to go for it. That influence is certainly sweet. In this case, though, we need some wood. Not especially worried. Oh. Yeah, that was really unfortunate. Not gonna lie. Thankfully, my territory is pretty well defended. Yeah, that was one of the things that I had hoped to avoid. But apparently Ajax and Diomedes, like, this is one of the reasons I'd also recommend, like, diplomacy, because, yeah, that particular outcome is quite rubbish. But you gotta be worried about that. Like, he literally just broke every rule in the book over that.
My expectations are not high.
So now he's unreliable. He's suffered a lot.
Challenge.
Why did he declare war on me? Maybe he just hates Arcadians. What the hell do I know? You got some explaining to do.
I'll make my
Well,
mark.
so we're surrounded on all sides, but I'm not too worried. Like, this is the thing. You gotta manage. When you're in a situation like this, you just gotta manage it. What is the threat? Where is that threat gonna come from? You know, those kind of things, right?
I offer honey and oil for your favor.
Those are the kind of questions you gotta ask yourself. So over here, yeah, we got an army under Diomedes potentially marching against us.
I'll break the enemy.
Sure.
Hit the road. You are my chosen.
But he would have to get past this army of the Arcadians in order to besiege our settlement.
Can the light...
I won't let you down.
So that is one of the benefits we do have. We can take it up a notch, though, if we want to.
And glory. I'm surprised you're bothering.
I'm surprised you guys aren't dead yet.
Wide
So I do wonder if they've set up an ambush.
Massacre the lot.
Yes, I know what it's saying. There's no way I lose this battle. This is what I mean about the bullshit auto-resolve. Because that is bullshit. But this is a good enough start. You know, get the stone. What would I do after this? Excellent point to ask. Excellent thing to ask. Well,
As Athena wills it, I'll listen.
alright. Some question to ask. Well, I would obviously deal with the situation over here with Ajax and so on and so forth, but like, I'm not too worried about this.
agreement seemed.
It is just, well, unfortunate that it did happen. It's also one of the ridiculous aspects that I kind of wish that they had indeed fixed over here.
The dignity of my court.
If I wanted to, right? You can also go for various plots in the court, though personally I just kind of find it whatever. Really. And just fighting that field battle would be great. Now, in terms of the power of the crown and all that, you kind of want to trigger the Civil War as quickly as possible. And you can see that I'm the only one who can challenge Troy. But the thing about legitimacy, a lot of it is actually gained through battles. So yes, you do have some from deity, character, etc. But for the most part, it's going to be battles. This is one of the reasons you want to be so aggressive in a campaign, because of that legitimacy benefit. So right here, yeah, I mean, Nestor is just going to pulverize Crete when he gets there, because he's got not just one army over here that he's going to send, but he's also going to recruit a second. As we've seen from the Auto Resolve, it certainly does favor me. And as for the situation here, well, let's just say the Odysseus-Nestor-Arcadian alliance is gonna teach these guys a couple of bloody lessons. With respect to that. So not really concerned, resource gold, all that. I would recommend going for Atreus. Now, one of the things, though, is you will benefit immensely if you do start with the features unlocked, because imagine if I had the court unlocked, the unique units and all that. I could have, like with the unique units, yeah, I would have spent a lot of gold for it, but I could have taken Corinth on turn 1, Athens much quickly, all that stuff. Maybe even sold Athens to Ajax, pacify the fucker over there, gained an alliance with him. Because like Athens is not necessarily so useful. This is a game where actually alliances pay off. Because, like, you know, oh, Crete declared war on me. It's like, hello, Nestor. Well, not quite Nestor, but still. Actually, where is Nestor? Like, I have no idea where he actually is. So, who knows, right? On that particular subject.
Shining Odysseus.
But, you know, he will show his worth. So playing the diplomacy, if you're just playing this game solo, it's not necessarily going to work out. Like, even as a faction like Ursa, you do want to engage in diplomacy, have allies, because they will help you out. You do at least need someone to provide you the food, because this is the thing. You see the amount of food I'm losing per turn? It does not worry me in the fucking slightest. Because I can always go one turn, and it's just like, oh, you got some food, my friend? Yeah, give me that freaking food. I want that food. I'll give you 400 stone, right? Something like that. Or I'll give you 400 bronze, right? Who cares? This is the thing. You can have a food deficit that's gigantic, and you probably will have one, especially as you increase the administration tier. But as long as you have a good income of stone and wood, you can always trade things around and around. Now, what is the goal of a campaign? That is the question. Well, whatever you make it, because the way a campaign is won in this game is based on various objectives. Now, you do have provincial conquest objectives to be certain, but for the most part, it's it's basically a number of victory points that you gain for completing various things. So, for instance, become the Wanax of the Aegean, conquer Troy, complete your ancient legacy, all that kind of stuff. Build 1,000 freaking dominance, landmarks, territory. That is the kind of stuff that you would want, that you'd be aiming for. Basically, as long as you're conquering territory and doing stuff, you're moving towards your victory objective. There are obviously some things you want to do, but all the same. Priority, resource-wise, territory-wise, gold and bronze are always important. You can always trade gold for bronze. Bronze is actually easier to find in certain sections in the map, but it depends where you are, right? Depends on what you start with, what you have available, all that kind of stuff. There's no particular resource you should chase in any specific campaign. It depends on what you have. Some campaigns you may have such a lack of food that you might want to chase for that. Other campaigns you completely lack stone, but you need it. So it depends on what you're dealing with, what your expansion path is. I would generally not worry too much about making an expansion path based on purely on resources. Unlike Troy, I would worry more so about, okay, what's my objective? Not just my short-term objective, my long-term objective. What's the point in taking Athens? Well, because they're a bloody nuisance that likely would declare war on me, and because I can use it as a jump-off point to go across the Aegean. Though in this case, it seems someone has taken. Like, the goal was take Athens, take this territory, and then take this gold mine. That was the intent here. Apparently, I was beaten to it. Anyway, Costin signing out.